Is there anybody that delivers donuts around here?
Did you forget your donuts?
What in the?
Whoa!
Are you serious?
Here's your donuts.
Good to see you, bud.
Good to see you.
Wow.
Hello, how are you?
Look at that.
The store was open today. I said I gotta bring donuts.
Look
I
at
need some
that.
stuff.
I can't believe it.
I need some stuff.
Wow. Look at, oh.
Has bacon on it.
Look at Susie. Okay, we'll give Susie first pick. Which one?
Oh no.
Oh, no, no.
Let me sit down.
This is been completely hands off, which is a little bit of a trouble with Top Bar because probably today we're going to.
Greg, so I was talking to another beekeeper about planting flowers around their hive and making this shrine to their bees. And really just trying to provide all the resources they can, as close as they can, to the bees to be able to kind of forage, right? So they plant all the flowers and the various resources. What is your opinion, or what have you read and learned over the years that bees typically will utilize those, or what's the strategy? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, thanks for setting me up for that. It's a hot burning question because number one, it's an important question. A lot of folks when they're getting started in beekeeping, they want to do the absolute best that they can for those bees. Give those bees the best possible bee life they can have, right? And that's awesome. And I love that folks are doing that. When we look at where the bees actually eat, what kind of radius from their colonies, that gets to be a little bit tricky. A lot of folks have mentioned that bees don't eat where they poop. That bees will travel out 2 and 3 miles in a radius to go feed and to come through before they're bringing those resources back. So when we're setting up a yard and you're setting up all those plants and flowers, maybe your bees aren't going to forage that, but you know who is? All the other pollinators and beneficial insects that are in your ecosystem will. And then guess what those
So it's
are
not a
going to do?
waste.
It's not a waste.
It's just not for your bees.
Maybe
per
it's
se.
not for the bees, but however, maybe it actually is.
Okay.
Right? So let's say we are feeding the other wasps and hornets and all the different insects, winged or otherwise, right? They're also going to go out and travel too. So as they are going out and also continuing pollination and providing that stimulative effect on those plants, you could almost argue that while your bees aren't eating on those plants that you put right under the hive or in your 5-acre homestead, something else is, and they're going out from there. If you look at the grand ecosystem as a whole, any food that we can provide for any of these beneficial insects, pollinators, butterflies, and then they can go out and carry and have the energy to go out and do more and more and more, it provides the ecosystem with a lot more food opportunities. The deer, the quail, the birds, everything. It makes the entire ecosystem way more diverse, way more profitable as far as the plants and things that are pumping and available for that. So that's one big thing. But what I love about it, the life lesson.
There's a life lesson. I was gonna say there's
The
gotta be a
life
life
lesson with this.
Always a life lesson.
There are so many life lessons with the honeybees. It's one of my favorite things, I think, that God's given the ability for us to be beekeepers and have a mind where we can look at it and see it's not just about the bees. It's not just about ourselves.
That's a good point.
One of the most beautiful things about those bees is that when they hit, like if we go out and look at some hives today, those bees just don't come out of the hive and go for that low-hanging fruit. They're not just going out and seeing, okay, boom, 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 right? It's not a Thanksgiving sale at Walmart and they're bum rushing flat screen TVs and grabbing as many as they can and getting home.
Never seen that before, but okay,
No.
good now.
Okay. Those rascals will actually go out and test their perimeters. How far can we go to collect and then start bringing it in? And what I love about that is it provides a lot more opportunities for other colonies in the area, even colonies in that yard, that they go out, they stretch that perimeter first, they see what's available, and then they start bringing it in. And I think what that does is it provides a lot of opportunities for not only the bees in their colonies in the bee yard, and I think that one of the best ways to put it is that there's plenty of food at the table for everybody in that scenario because they were going out to where their strengths are.
There it is.
And leaving it for everybody else.
That's awesome. Greg, that's awesome.
can also tell too by like their intensity on it. See how busy they are on those ones there?
Oh, it's coming open here.
Yep, oh yeah, look, you can catch it. Brian, do you think we should mark virgin queens? Now you've heard, should you or shouldn't you mark virgin queens? I think a lot of the argument is if you mark a virgin queen, they are bird prey, much easier. Here's my thoughts. After marking hundreds and hundreds of virgins, when I have an opportunity like today, you just saw where this virgin just emerged out of that cell, while I have her right here under my care, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to mark her. And why am I going to do that? Well, it's a matter of efficiency. Now I can go ahead and mark her. I'm going to put her right back. Now you got to be careful with virgins because they run quick. You don't want to leave that open for too long. I'm going to put her right back in that box. Now we just pulled out, how many? We just pulled out 4 other virgins that were hatching all within minutes out of that colony. As you can see, this colony here is not large enough for a standard, a traditional swarm. You can see Jason in the background. Wave, Jason! We were sitting here talking about bees and saw that this colony swarmed. And I looked at my marking and I said, well, there's no way it's a swarm, meaning a colony that was big enough to grow out of its box to swarm. At my markings, I know that we had marked that we had an open queen cells. These guys made their own queens. And the challenge with that is if you let them make queens, which you can, you might consider knocking those queen cells down and only leaving them 2. If you leave them too many queen cells, the risk with that is they do what we just saw, which is those bees actually thinking it's swarm time and leading off with one of those queens. So what do? We got right in there. We pulled 4 of those virgins out. Now we can go make 4 other splits with 4 other colonies with those virgins. Let them have the one that we just marked. And now when she comes back and matures, she's already marked and ready to go. And we know, for some reason, if there was another virgin, or if they fly back home with another queen, if it's not marked, it wasn't that queen that we just saw in that colony. So it gives us a good point of reference. So yes, the answer to the question is, I am a big fan of marking virgins. It lets me know, it's one quicker point of touch and knowing what I'm doing with them. And a little easier to find in the colony later too. Now when I see her, if she's not laying in the right kind of time frame, and she's a dud queen, then we just pinch her. But at least now she's already marked and ready to go. It makes it easier for me to see. It's about being as efficient as we can while we're inside these colonies. So that's why I mark them when I see them. Love how black those workers are. Brian, you ever seen the endophallus?
I just did it wrong. I squeezed too fast. I need to push up and in.
I don't see you being a drone fluffer in your future.
I'll try one more.
Find an older one. Look at their butts, make sure there's no hair on their butts. Like that one there, that one probably goes. Nope, see he's got hair under his belly and armpits, he's too young. When you're looking at those colonies though, and you see a bunch of, so I saw this for years, I didn't really put anything together until I read an old book by Steve Tabor, is when you are having a colony, and they're putting drone cells on, but they're not making drones. And they're using that for storage. Even though you have a colony that can be wall to wall and frames full of pollen, what they found, it was a protein deficiency. At the time, they didn't call it pollen sub or pollen patties, but they were mixing up a pollen additive to those colonies. And what they found is colonies, no matter the size, when they have the right balance of not only carbohydrates but protein, the colony had a certain vibrancy and essence to it, where now they could develop and go to that next phase of a colony, which is actually making the drones. And so one is like this, we're building a nuke right now, and the colony is so advanced, but it's in this box. Not only are they making cells, but now let's get the evidence of drones. All the cells that are available to make drones, they are. What have we done different with these colonies this year? We have made sure we've kept our Hive Alive pollen patties on. We've kept them stimulated. They've had all the carbs and protein outside of what's going on here. We've kept them on the colonies. I think it's made a huge difference because we go through box after box after box, and they are fully advanced nucleus colonies, and I think it's a big deal.
You're like a freaking news media guy. It's like, what do you got? What's going on?
No, I'm
I know,
doing
just kidding.
that
Hey,
for the infamous B-roll.
is that thing on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead
Ready?
and say whatever, because I can cut out.
Is it on? Okay. Oh my gosh, Brian, did you see this? Oh!
Got him! Got him! Got him!